The South China Sea, one of the world's most contested waters, is once again on the edge of crisis. In a move that caught Beijing's attention, the United States and the Philippines have officially announced the creation of a joint military task force to operate in and around disputed areas of the South China Sea. Within hours, the Chinese military released a sharp statement. Their Navy and Air Force had closely monitored a Philippine patrol, warning that foreign interference will not be tolerated. This exchange marks a new stage in the power struggle of the Indo-Pacific, a region that now defines global security. What started as maritime patrols and island disputes has evolved into a full geopolitical contest involving Washington, Beijing, Manila, and even Tokyo. The newly formed U.S.-Philippine Task Force is designed to coordinate surveillance, intelligence, and naval operations across the region, particularly near the Spratly Islands and Scarborough Shoal, to hotspots where China has built artificial islands and military outposts. The Pentagon described the task force as a defensive measure, but for Beijing, this is seen as nothing short of provocation. China's Ministry of Defense accused the U.S. of militarizing the region, claiming that Washington is using smaller nations as proxies to contain China's rise. The Chinese Navy quickly released images of its own ships shadowing Philippine vessels, a move meant to demonstrate readiness and dominance. At the heart of this escalation lies a bigger story: the U.S. strategy to tighten its network of alliances in Asia. Since 2023, Washington has signed defense pacts with Japan, Australia, South Korea, and India. The Philippines, under President Marcos Jr., has become the newest and perhaps most crucial partner, offering access to 9 U.S. military bases, many just a few hundred kilometers from Taiwan. This geographic proximity makes the Philippines a key player in any potential Taiwan contingency. For China, the situation looks increasingly like a military encirclement. From Japan in the north to Australia in the south, and now the Philippines in the center, Beijing sees a chain of American alliances closing in around its maritime frontiers. And that's why its response has become more aggressive, intercepting aircraft, harassing patrols, and deploying Coast Guard vessels that act more like warships. But why is the South China Sea so important? Beyond its symbolism, this stretch of ocean carries nearly one-third of global trade and holds vast reserves of oil, gas, and critical minerals. Whoever dominates these waters controls the arteries of the global economy. For Washington, maintaining freedom of navigation is a matter of global order. For Beijing, asserting sovereignty is a matter of national survival. The Philippines, caught between these giants, has decided to choose sides, a dramatic shift from its past policy of balancing both powers. Under Marcos Jr., Manila has welcomed American troops, joint exercises, and even U.S. surveillance drones operating from Philippine airfields. This alignment has angered Beijing, which has repeatedly warned of serious consequences if the Philippines continues to invite foreign militaries into Chinese waters. Behind the scenes, regional powers are watching closely. Vietnam is quietly strengthening its navy. Malaysia and Indonesia are expanding coastal defenses. Japan and Australia are coordinating logistics to support the U.S. Pacific Command in any future conflict. It's a chessboard in motion, and every piece is being positioned for the next move. At the same time, the information war is escalating. Chinese state media accuses the U.S. of spreading false security guarantees, while American outlets highlight China's coercive tactics and maritime bullying. Public opinion across Asia is polarized, with some nations fearing Chinese dominance and others wary of becoming pawns in a new Cold War. Economically, the stakes are just as high. China depends heavily on shipping routes through the South China Sea to sustain its exports and energy imports. A U.S.-led coalition controlling those sea lanes would threaten the core of China's trade network. That's why Beijing has been building a parallel system of economic influence, from the Belt and Road ports in Cambodia and Pakistan to digital infrastructure projects in Southeast Asia. But Washington has its own counter-strategy. Through initiatives like the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, the U.S. is trying to lure regional economies away from Beijing's orbit, promising technology, investment, and military protection. In many ways, this is the 21st century version of containment, only now it's wrapped in trade, security, and diplomacy. The latest military buildup suggests that both sides are preparing not just for deterrence, but for endurance. China continues to build naval bases and deploy long-range missiles on reclaimed islands. The US and its allies conduct freedom of navigation operations to challenge those claims. Each maneuver increases the risk of a collision, a miscalculation, or a spark that could ignite a larger conflict. So what happens next? The formation of this new US-Philippine task force may seem minor, but it symbolizes the broader transformation of the Indo-Pacific into the center of global rivalry. Every agreement signed, every patrol launched, and every radar ping in these waters now carries geopolitical weight. And as Washington and Beijing test each other's limits, one question looms large: can the world's two superpowers share the same sea without going to war? The answer, for now, remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: the South China Sea is no longer just a regional issue, it's the front line of global power, and every move made here will echo across the world.